Welcome back, YouTubers, to a WWE Smackdown review with us, the British Fist.
Ka-ching!
Mr. Parkin here, and probably the only reason why you're probably going to tune into this Smackdown review as follows.
What's up?
Subscribe to us, please. Like this video if you will, and comment any thoughts you have on this week's edition of Smackdown, WWE's edition of The Filler Show, down in the comment section below.
And make sure you contact us in the links in the description box below.
I must say I was kind of a little bit excited. I haven't really watched Smackdown properly for some time, so I was going to see maybe they've improved, maybe they haven't.
And for the sponsors of the British Fist, say hello to Monster.
Monster indeed. Let's get on to the in-ring action and booking portion of this week's Smackdown review. Unlike Raw, we actually opened Smackdown with a match this week. It was Sheamus and Orton versus the Rhodes Scholars, which you've just seen on Raw. Kind of defines filler show, doesn't it? We've just seen it on Raw, and we have to have it again on SmackDown. Even though it did make some sense, it's just that seeing two matches in the space of 5 days is just kind of like, ugh.
And
here we go.
there's nothing really different about this.
Yeah, the baby faces win. That's all you really need to know here. We'll talk more about this in the later section of the video. Caitlyn and Layla versus Tamina and Oksana. Layla gets the pin here. Some interesting story developments in this match, but Layla gets the pin. If she's going to be the #1 contender, then this is good booking. She does need to get victory.
The #1 contender again, yes.
Miz versus Darren Young with Barrett on commentary. This was your typical... Well, all you need to know here is Miz gets the win, as he should do over a Darren Young.
And the jobber, yes.
Kane with Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler with Big E and AJ. Ziggler wins, so the second time he's had a win over the tag champs in a week. When was the last time we could say Ziggler had 2 wins in a row on consecutive shows?
I'm starting to like this win because obviously Ziggler's starting to pick up wins, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to last too much longer.
Mark Henry versus Ryback, the match which we wanted to see at WrestleMania, barely happened, so more on that in the later section of our video. Jack Swagger versus Chris Jericho was our main event on this SmackDown. Yeah, I like the context of this match.
This match, again, I'm not the greatest fan of Swagger, never have been, and it looks like never will be. But with this match, I think because Jericho being a great worker, I definitely support this match and to be a face going against the heel.
Indeed, and with not much going on with the Swagger Del Rio storyline this week, I really think they needed like a sort of biggish match for Jack Swagger. I mean, bringing him back the way they've done, he's the #1 contender for the World Championship. They're trying to give him this unique character. It's good that a guy like Chris Jericho can come in, and even though we complain that he loses a lot, at least we can say that Chris Jericho is coming in and is at least putting over in matches and giving new talent like Jack Swagger wins.
I'm liking that factor, but I guess the way I'm going to look at it now is we've had Swagger beat Jericho. What comes next?
So with regards character enhancement and more importantly storyline advancement, the first thing that I would like to get off my chest here is the fact that they had video packages for Lesnar Triple H, CM Punk Undertaker, and Rock Cena from Raw. So basically, you're trying to tell me that the 3 biggest matches and 3 biggest draws to WrestleMania aren't going to be featured on SmackDown in an in-ring segment, and to me, I've said it many times, it just makes SmackDown feel like a filler show, and it's something that I've always had a gripe with about SmackDown.
There's 2 things I want to say about this. Number 1 is for week after week after week, for the last month, even 2 months, the WWE have concentrated on those 3 matches. The World Heavyweight is just starting to get some notice.
And the Shield.
The Shield, yeah, but I'd just say it's a bit of a shame. Yes, you got your important matches, but the World Heavyweight is meant to be 1, a credible championship, and 2, SmackDown's main championship. And I don't really feel that the WWE for a long time now, especially to the build to Mania, have treated that way. Number 2, I just feel that the WWE, they should, especially when it comes to Mania, have Raw wrestlers or big names coming onto SmackDown just to make SmackDown feel like the road to WrestleMania 2.
I mean, you can have Triple H appear maybe 1 week, maybe have him respond to Lesnar on SmackDown, but of course they're going to save it for Raw. You could have CM Punk maybe there, take a cut in a promo, Rock, maybe John Cena on SmackDown just to do something, just to hype up these matches.
Because in the past they've had stuff like this happen with Go Home Show, but that's good and all, because obviously you're making the last show special, but you still had weeks before that to add build, especially to make SmackDown look important leading up to Mania.
Anyway, moving on, a couple of small things we want to get off our chest here. Brad Maddox was on commentary. Interesting, a 3rd member on the commentary booth. Still kind of awkward, but that's Brad Maddox for you.
He's someone that I don't think's ever going to be taken heavily seriously. Yes, there's some people trying to support him, but I don't think Brad Maddox is the best at what he does.
Bella's attack on the Funkadactyls. I wonder where that's going to lead to. I mean, it's kind of like a tag team Divas feud.
If they dare bring in Diva Tag Team Championship, I'm going to freaking shoot you!
Or they may be going down the line of Rhodes Scholars and the Bellas versus the Funkadactyls and Big T or Tensai or whatever his name is and Brodus Clay. Looks like they could be maybe teasing that match. That's the match I've heard that could happen at WrestleMania. And, you know, we do need some teasers to the mid-card matches we're going to be getting at WrestleMania.
Again, I look at that match and think, yes, they could be teasing that, but when you go back to the Rhodes Scholars promo, yes, they've been losing every single match, but they promised to be the next tag team champions. And I think them winning at Mania would at least be something big for them.
I'd like Rhodes Scholars to face the New Age Outlaws. I mean, they had Sandow and Rhodes cut a promo on the New Age Outlaws, but I have a feeling this could just be a Raw storyline, even though I felt they could really build it up to WrestleMania into some kind of big match, even though, like you said, the Rhodes Scholars have been losing a lot lately. It seems to me now that they're building a Team Hell No versus Ziggler and Langston feud. We've had Ziggler beat Daniel Bryan on Raw. And apparently the plan now, from what I'm hearing, is that they're going to be doing Team Hell No versus Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston for the tag team titles. What do you think of this plan going forward for WWE?
Ziggler is Mr. Money in the Bank, which pretty much says I'm going for the World Heavyweight Championship. But instead, I'm going to go after the tag feud, even though there's hints that Daniel Bryan and Kane are going to be feuding soon. So number one, yes, it might be another big win for Kane and Bryan, but Ziggler should be against main eventers, getting ready for that cash-in, so he could be against, like, yeah, we've seen him against Orton, but in a feud that keeps him in the main event scene instead of the tag team scene.
I'd like to have seen him face Chris Jericho, but that would have been another rematch. But at least Ziggler and Langston are getting on the card. That's all I'll say about this. About this segment, though, you had Big E Langston coming in and dominating Daniel Bryan, and the distraction allows Dolph Ziggler to win his second match in a week. So Ziggler beat a guy who beat the #1 contender to the streak on Raw, and then you have Big E decimating Kane after that match. So at least they're making Ziggler win matches and Big E Langston look like a dominant heel.
This is the thing. I'm glad that Ziggler's body people like AJ and Langston are doing things to be actually look like they're putting the heel over, because past sometimes the manager just standing going.
It's happened a lot recently with managers, but there we go.
Now they get involved, I like that. And the other thing I like is that Langston, I'm looking forward to seeing all these attacks he's doing. Who of the attacks is he going to feud with first?
I'll be interested to see him feuding with someone down the line. What they're going to do with there, I don't know. But they're really pushing this Fandango character, aren't they? We see him on every single show. I know a lot of people may not like him, i.e. this guy sitting next to me here. But, you know, I'm kind of waiting to see where they're going to go with this Fandango character before they're actually, you know, stop distracting me, please. You have Fandango making fun of Carly and Natalia. Carly, of course, can't pronounce his name correctly because, let's face it, he can barely speak English. So once again, he isn't debuting, and this, you know, this does remind me a lot of the Damien Sandow debut when he didn't debut until like a month after and actually building up to that debut. There are rumors that he might be facing Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. That would be a big match for Johnny Curtis, wouldn't it?
Sorry?
Miz versus Barrett. It's the kind of feud they may be teasing. They had Miz in a match where Barrett was on commentary. Do you feel that Miz versus Barrett should be the feud going forward, or do you think it should be Barrett versus Jericho? It's really confusing to see what WWE are trying to do here, because they got that triple threat match for the IC Championship on Monday. So
even though we have Miz in a place where he's turned face, I personally want to see Miz as a top face, like in the main event scene again. Jericho, yes, you could say it's a step down, but it could be seen like a Christian. You could see like a Bret Hart who's came down to the mid-card to help, even though Barrett shouldn't need to be put over, but in this case, he does. So I think Jericho would have been the better option.
They didn't do too much with the World Heavyweight Championship feud this week. You know, you had Del Rio mocking Swagger, and that's kind of like parody We Are the People YouTube video thing. You had Jack Swagger win a match against Chris Jericho and end the night on top, which was the main event, but didn't really have anything else here. I thought that they might do a little bit more with this angle on SmackDown, especially this close to WrestleMania.
And this comes to what I said, they've not really treated the World Heavyweight Championship as seriously as they should.
Especially as the match was the main event, but it wasn't really the main angle of the night. The main angle of the night is what we're going to be talking about in the next segment. So surprisingly enough, the main angle on SmackDown was this whole thing involving The Shield, Randy Orton and Sheamus and Ryback. They had 4 segments devoted to this on the actual show, including in-ring and backstage segments. So it had a lot of TV time this week. It wasn't the main event, but it felt to me, as I was watching the show, like this was the main thing that WWE were concentrating on, especially on SmackDown.
The first thing I want to say is that I'm glad that Big Show is a part of this. Yes, it leaves me wondering what is Big Show going to do. Not another embarrassing match, please, but Ryback, he's always involved in these triple threats against the Shield, so it's a bit like, oh, we've seen this before. I'm just wondering what they're going to do different at the pay-per-view. Well,
let's face it, there's one thing Ryback never got. He never actually got his revenge against the Shield, so I'm hoping that at WrestleMania they do what's right and actually have these 3 superheroes, or whatever you want to call them, defeat the Shield finally, because Ryback needs a freaking win. I'm sorry.
We'll give our opinions more on that on the Go-Home show and stuff, but yeah. I want to say about end prediction. The thing I want to say about this is that Ryback beating the Shield is good and it should happen. But I feel like Mania, the Shield get a big win at Mania. That would have been better, but the Shield have had too many wins already.
They've had a win at TLC in a big match. They've had a win at Elimination Chamber. I think it's about time the babyface has got a win, personally. But anyway, let's get on to these segments. During the opening Randy Orton and Sheamus tag match, you had the Shield's music hit after they won. They're on the Titantron saying about how they've dropped everyone in the company, including John Cena, The Rock, blah, 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 blah. And they don't have a match at WrestleMania, so they challenge Orton and Sheamus to find a partner to face them at Mania. So we're getting a match announced on SmackDown. Thank God they're starting to at least announce some of these sort of mid-card type matches now.
I guess that was a good thing to do, announce on SmackDown, but who really watches SmackDown?
That's very true. You also had the backstage segment where Orton and Sheamus announced Ryback as their tag partner. It was interesting here. You had Big Show actually offering their services, his services to them, but they announced that they wanted Ryback instead. This was a way of phasing Big Show out and bringing Ryback in. It seems like they changed the plans a little bit, because we thought they might do a Ryback-Mark Henry feud, and now they're bringing him in here. So looks like WWE are really rewriting a lot of things and trying to get stuff planned now, isn't it?
Even though Ryback, in my opinion, as much as I don't really like Ryback as much as other wrestlers, he is a better choice than a heel Big Show to join a face team. I'm just wondering what Big Show is going to do and what the outcome of this 3-on-3 is going to be.
The Shield also attacked Orton and Sheamus backstage in a segment. This is what I mean. They got a lot of TV time with this whole feud. That was pretty good. And then you had the Mark Henry Ryback match, which we didn't want to see actually happen. About a minute into the match, before they could really get any offense in, the Shield come out and Henry backs out while the Shield attack Ryback 3-on-1 and end another segment like they've been doing all week on top.
So I think even though we're not going to get this at Mania, expect to see this on Raw, the rematch, and for the match actually to take place properly.
Especially seeing as Mark Henry came in and gave 2 world's strongest slams to Ryback anyway. So I'm expecting this to be like a little TV feud, even though I felt it could have been a big feud at WrestleMania. But overall, the Shield versus Ryback, Sheamus and Orton stuff was generally done pretty well. You had the heels. You have the dominant heel faction come out on top on the baby faces, which to me is good booking going into WrestleMania, where you want them to feel like the baby faces have to overcome something. It's very simple, and WWE did that very well on this SmackDown show, I will say that. Anyway, so if you have any thoughts on this show, let us know down in the comment section below. We have been The British Fist.
Go, Joe!
That's it from another SmackDown review with us, and we now say paranoia.
Let me just say this quickly. People, we may probably do SmackDown continuously to bring it back, just depending on how you feel about this SmackDown review. Please let us know in the comment section below. And from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, please share your good, bad, and awful thoughts about SmackDown in the comment section below. And from the sponsors of Monster, The British Fist, goodbye.